Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a really fascinating journey into the world of artificial intelligence, AI.
Hmm.
You encounter it every day, perhaps with Siri on your phone or like the movie recommendations you get. But what's actually going on underneath all that?
Exactly. And while those everyday uses are, familiar to most people, this deep dive, we're really aiming to explore the fundamental ways AI is reshaping some truly crucial areas.
Right.
We're drawing on a pretty comprehensive overview by Daryl West and John Allen, and that's going to sort of guide our exploration of this powerful tech.
Okay, good. So, our goal today is to unpack how AI is already transforming sectors like finance, national security, healthcare, criminal justice, transportation, even how our cities work.
Yeah, it's broad.
It really is. And this isn't just, looking way off into the future. The economic impact is already huge. PricewaterhouseCoopers, they estimate AI could add something like $15.7 trillion to global GDP by 2030.
Wow. That's staggering.
Isn't it? And you see big global players like China making these massive strides. They clearly want to lead the world in AI.
Yeah, that ambition is clear. And what makes this whole thing so compelling, I think, is seeing how these advancements, which hold just immense promise, they also bring up really important policy questions, regulatory things, practical considerations
Yeah.
as AI gets more and more woven into our lives.
Okay, let's dive right in then. Finance. It's pretty remarkable. Between just 2013 and 2014, investments in AI in the U.S. financial sector tripled, reaching what, $12.2 billion? Dollars? What's driving that kind of explosive growth?
Well, that huge surge in investment is fueling some really profound shifts in how, financial institutions operate.
Well,
Take loan decisions, for instance. That whole process is evolving way beyond just looking at traditional credit scores.
okay.
AI algorithms can now analyze a much, much wider range of data about a borrower, things like their payment history on different services, maybe even patterns in their financial transactions,
Yeah.
just to build a more detailed and potentially more accurate picture of their creditworthiness.
So it's about seeing more of the whole story, not just that one number.
Precisely. A
Yeah.
much richer picture. And it doesn't stop at lending either. We're also seeing the increasing use of these robo-advisors.
Yeah.
These are basically AI-powered platforms. They can create personalized investment portfolios, essentially automating the kind of advice you might traditionally get from a human financial advisor.
That's interesting. It sort of democratizes access to investment advice a bit, doesn't it? Makes it more available.
It does, yeah, to some
Yeah.
extent. And then you look at the really fast-paced world of stock exchanges.
Yeah.
AI is enabling what they call high-frequency trading.
Right. Milliseconds.
Exactly. Algorithms executing trades in mere milliseconds,
Yeah.
identifying and acting on these tiny market fluctuations far faster than any human possibly could.
Uh-huh.
And looking further out, there's even talk about quantum bits. These could potentially revolutionize the speed and capacity of data processing in finance systems, though, that's still pretty early stages.
Still feels a bit sci-fi, but fascinating. And here's where AI's analytical power really seems to shine too, right? Detecting fraud.
Oh, absolutely. By sifting through just enormous amounts of financial data, AI can spot unusual patterns, anomalies, outliers,
Hmm.
things that could signal fraudulent activity. This means much quicker detection and hopefully prevention.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift gears. A completely different area, but just as critical, national security.
Yeah, and in this sector, AI is becoming, well, an increasingly indispensable tool. Project Maven is a really good example.
Okay, what's that?
Basically, the U.S. military is leveraging AI to analyze the just vast amounts of surveillance data they collect. Videos, images,
Right. Too much for humans alone.
way too much.
Okay.
So the AI helps human analysts spot patterns, identify activities that might need a closer look. The overall goal here is to significantly speed up the development and deployment of advanced defense technologies. Just get faster and more agile.
It sounds like this constant push to just stay ahead technologically. Now, there's been a lot of talk, sometimes controversy, around autonomous lethal systems. Where does AI fit into that whole picture?
That's definitely a complex area.
Mm.
The development of autonomous weapon systems, it raises huge ethical and strategic questions.
I bet.
And different nations are approaching this in pretty varied ways. Some, like the U.S., are really emphasizing the importance of keeping humans in control, human in the loop. Others might have different perspectives, different doctrines.
And this matters especially when you think about AI systems operating at incredible speeds in a conflict. What did you call it? Hyperwar speed.
Exactly, hyperwar, that paints a stark picture, doesn't it? And it's not just about physical conflict either. Cybersecurity has got to be another massive area for AI and national
Yeah,
security.
sure.
Absolutely crucial. The threats are getting so much more sophisticated. Things like previously unknown zero-day attacks or this constantly evolving polymorphic malware.
Right, stuff that changes itself.
Exactly. It demands equally sophisticated defenses.
Hmm.
So AI is playing a vital role now in shifting towards cloud-based cybersecurity platforms that can learn and adapt in real time to new threats.
So they learn on the fly.
Pretty much. This includes incredibly detailed analysis, almost like analyzing the DNA of software code, to identify and neutralize even brand new malicious programs. And the fact is, these AI systems were effective in stopping major threats like WannaCry and Petya. That shows their potential.
Right. Those were big. And again, like in finance, we're seeing huge global investment here. China, for example, has this really ambitious plan, right? Building a massive domestic AI industry by 2030.
Yeah, what's particularly noteworthy, I think, is the dual-use nature of a lot of these AI algorithms. Meaning, technologies developed for civilian stuff can often be rapidly adapted for security purposes and vice versa.
Oh, okay.
Versus the facial recognition tech developed by China's Baidu initially for commercial uses, like tagging photos, is now also being used to help find missing people.
Interesting application.
And major cities like Shenzhen are actively pouring resources into supporting AI research labs. They recognize the technology's broad applicability, including in areas like security and counterterrorism.
Okay, from national security, let's turn to something, well, deeply personal for everyone, our health. How is AI making waves in healthcare?
AI is bringing just a whole new level of analytical power to healthcare. Some very promising applications emerging.
Like what?
Well, consider a company like Merantix. I think they're based in Germany. They're using what's known as deep learning for medical imaging.
Deep learning, okay.
So their technology can analyze CT scans, computed tomography scans, to identify lymph nodes in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Deep learning, at its core, it involves training computers on just massive amounts of data so they can recognize patterns and make predictions.
And detecting lymph nodes, why is that such a key application? What's the significance?
Well, identifying subtle changes or abnormalities in lymph nodes is often really crucial for the early detection of cancer.
Ah, okay. Makes sense.
Traditionally, this analysis is done manually by radiologists, looking at scan after scan. It can be time-intensive, costly.
I can imagine.
So Merantix's AI application is trained on these huge data sets of medical images, and it learns to distinguish between normal and potentially cancerous lymph nodes. This has the potential to significantly speed up the process and maybe even reduce the cost associated with that manual analysis.
So the AI isn't replacing the radiologist, but it's acting like a highly trained assistant, highlighting things.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. By learning from these massive data sets, the AI can develop an eye for subtle indicators of disease that might not be immediately obvious even to a trained human eye sometimes. Ultimately, it's about aiding in earlier diagnosis and hopefully leading to better patient outcomes.
That sounds incredibly promising. Now let's move to another area where AI is generating both excitement and, I think, considerable discussion. Criminal justice.
Yes, this is definitely an area where potential benefits need to be weighed very carefully against, crucial societal values.
Absolutely. So how is AI being applied in criminal justice right now?
A key area of application is in predictive risk analysis.
Mm-hmm.
This is being used both in law enforcement, like predicting hotspots, and in sentencing decisions in court.
Okay. Predictive risk.
Yeah, the idea is to use AI algorithms to assess the likelihood of an individual reoffending or perhaps becoming involved in criminal activity in the future based on various data points.
Right. And what are the proponents saying? What are the potential outcomes they see from using systems like this?
Well, according to Caleb Watney, he's with the R Street Institute, some studies suggest that these AI programs could potentially lead to significant reductions in crime rates without necessarily increasing incarceration. Or, conversely, they might allow for reductions in jail populations without causing a rise in crime. The argument is essentially that data-driven analysis can identify patterns and risks maybe better than traditional methods alone.
That's a pretty significant claim, and I'm sure, as you said, it sparks a lot of important debate about fairness and bias. Let's shift to something maybe a bit more everyday. Transportation. Autonomous vehicles have been talked about for years. Feels like we're getting closer.
We certainly are, and the level of investment definitely reflects that intense interest. Between August 2014 and June 2017 alone, over $80 billion was invested in the technology behind autonomous vehicles.
80 billion, wow.
Yeah, huge sums. And that covers everything from the vehicles themselves to the incredibly sophisticated systems that power them.
So what kind of tech are we actually talking about here? It's way beyond just fancy cruise control, I take it.
Oh, absolutely. Miles beyond.
Yeah.
Autonomous vehicles use this complex array of advanced tech. You've got automated steering and braking, obviously lane keeping assistance, sophisticated collision avoidance systems using cameras, radar, other sensors.
Uh-huh.
And crucially, AI is right at the heart of processing all this real-time information coming in. Plus, deep learning allows these vehicles to adapt to new situations based on incredibly detailed maps and, importantly, the collective experience of other autonomous vehicles out on the road.
So it's like a network. Each car learns from all the others.
Precisely. That's a key aspect. The software is really the core element of autonomous driving, maybe even more than the physical car itself. Systems like LiDAR, light detection, and ranging combined with AI algorithms are critical for navigation and preventing collisions. They create this sort of 360-degree view around the car, measuring speed and distance of objects constantly.
Right. And ride-sharing companies like Uber and Lyft, they seem particularly invested in this technology. Why is that?
Well, they are, and you can see why. Autonomous vehicles hold the promise of, well, potentially improved customer service, maybe lower fares eventually, and definitely significant increases in efficiency and labor productivity by potentially reducing the need for human drivers.
Yeah.
Uber, for instance, even had a major agreement at one point to purchase a huge fleet, like 24,000 autonomous Volvos.
But the road to fully autonomous driving hasn't been entirely smooth, has it? I seem to recall a pretty serious incident in Arizona a few years back.
Yes, that's right. Tragically, in March 2018, an autonomous Uber vehicle was involved in a fatal accident in Arizona. It hit a pedestrian.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that event led Uber, and actually other companies too, to temporarily halt their testing programs on public roads. It raised really serious questions about the safety, the reliability, and ultimately the public acceptance of this technology.
Yeah.
It really highlighted the critical need for incredibly rigorous testing and robust safety protocols. Progress has resumed, but that was a major setback and a sobering moment.
Definitely a reminder of the stakes involved. Okay, finally, let's explore how AI is starting to shape the very places we live. Our cities, this idea of smart cities.
Right. Metropolitan governments are increasingly looking to AI to improve how they deliver urban services and, enhance the quality of life for residents.
How so? Can you give an example?
Yeah, a really great illustration is the Cincinnati Fire Department. They're using data analytics to optimize how they respond to medical emergencies.
Okay, the fire department for medical calls. How does AI help there?
So their system analyzes a whole bunch of data points when an emergency call comes in. Things like the nature of the call itself, the precise location, current weather conditions, even historical data from similar past incidents in that area.
Interesting.
And this allows the dispatchers to make more informed decisions about the most appropriate response, like is on-site treatment likely possible, or is immediate transport to a hospital absolutely necessary?
Right.
Given that they handle something like 80,000 calls every year, this tech aims to help them prioritize effectively and just allocate their resources much more efficiently.
So it's using data to be smarter and faster in providing really essential city services. And Cincinnati isn't alone in this, I imagine.
Oh, not at all. Numerous cities are adopting these kinds of smart city applications, often powered by AI, for a really wide range of purposes. Things like improved environmental planning, better management of resources like water and energy, optimizing energy use across the city, even efforts to predict and prevent crime.
Okay. Who are the leaders?
Well, Fast Company's Smart Cities Index identified several leading examples in the U.S. Seattle, Boston, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and New York City often come up.
And what are some specific ways these top cities are using AI? Any examples jump out?
Sure. Seattle, for instance, is really focused on sustainability, using AI-powered systems for energy management and allocating resources more effectively. Boston has implemented initiatives like City Hall to Go, basically mobile offices to serve different neighborhoods.
Right.
And they also use tech like cameras and acoustic sensors for traffic management and even to detect the sound of gunshots.
Gunshots. Wow.
Yeah. And San Francisco uses data analysis to track and promote buildings that meet high environmental standards, like LED certification. It's becoming quite widespread. A report from the National League of Cities indicated that something like 66%, two-thirds of American cities are investing in smart city technologies.
Two-thirds.
Yeah, with things like smart utility meters, intelligent traffic signals that adapt to flow, and various e-governance platforms being among the most common applications right now.
So it's really clear from everything we've talked about, AI isn't some, far-off futuristic concept anymore. It's actively reshaping a huge spectrum of our lives and industries, like right now.
That really is the key takeaway, isn't it?
Yeah.
From the complex world of global finance to the absolutely critical functions of national security, from the very personal realm of our health to the everyday experiences of getting around and living in our cities, AI is a present-day reality. It's here, and it's driving significant change.
And the potential benefits seem enormous, driving economic growth, boosting efficiency, delivering better services across the board. It really makes you pause and consider the profound implications these rapid advancements have for each of us and just for the future of society as a whole.
Absolutely. And this brings us, I think, to a crucial point for you, the listener, to think about.
Yeah.
Considering the sheer breadth and the speed at which AI is being woven into so many facets of our lives, what are the most important conversations we really need to be having now? What do we need to discuss to ensure that its deployment leads to genuinely positive and widespread benefits for everyone and avoids potential pitfalls?